Hello and welcome back to the TV Show Club. I'm just going to get straight into it because this episode is going to be purely talking about and dedicated to the finale in Season 3 of Mandalorian. I just don't know how to feel about the finale of The Mandalorian. I'm in like two minds about it. Part of me is like really happy with what happened and thought what we saw was really sick, and another part of me is really disappointed and felt a little bit unsatisfied. Overall, I actually really enjoyed the episode as a whole. As a standalone episode of The Mandalorian, this is really good. The fight scene where the Mandalorians fly in against the troopers is one of the best things I've seen in Star Wars. The armorer was definitely the highlight, her just going around just bang, bang with that was brilliant. The overall choreography of the fight scenes between like Din and Moff and also Bo and Moff, stellar. Both really well done. The pacing of the episode as well, that was really good, and it was also really nice to see some solo moments of Din when he was fighting the troopers on his own. And this might be also the first ever time in Star Wars history that we get a happy ending for something. I mean, we might get a season further down the line and it doesn't go quite well, but for now, we've got a happy ending to something, which is something we don't get often as Star Wars fans. Now, what I didn't like. I don't really understand why in the episode before the finale they took Din away just for him to escape the week after. For me, that really seemed pointless, because throughout that week we were all theorising like, oh my god, they're going to kill Din, oh, they're going to wipe his mind with the mind flare, just all this stuff, and none of it happened, so it kind of made it a bit lackluster, the fact that he escaped within the first 5 minutes of the episode. I would have much rather, while they were running out all the Mandalorians and Bo and all those, Din and Grogu split off and go somewhere else, or there's an avalanche of rocks and they get split up, or just something like that where it makes a little bit more sense. Because like when Grogu suddenly shows up, it's like, well, how did you get there from the blast doors shutting? Like it just didn't really make much sense, and it just fell a little bit flat for me. I also don't really like how little they're using Grogu's abilities. For me, putting him in a droid where he just uses their arms and stuff, like the man's got the force, like let him use it. There's been other instances where Grogu's absolutely like force pushed someone miles, but then in this you see him force pushing them troopers and he can barely nudge them. Although I did really like that, the whole balance of Din smacking people up and Grogu just sort of being the support in the background, like force push it. I did like that, but I just thought, give the force a bit more power. I'm sorry, Paz Vizsla, but your death's kind of been outshone. The saddest death for me now is the Darksaber. It actually made me really sad, and I'm kind of like, I don't know, I don't really like the fact that they've done that. The Darksaber has been part of Star Wars lore for years now. We've grown to love this saber more than probably any other weapon in Star Wars, I would say. I think just the history behind it and the lore behind it and the rules and just how it looks and everything, and for Moff to just be able to crush it, it makes it like really insignificant, because it's supposed to be made of Beskar. It's supposed to not be able to break like that. And so unless they're like replacing it and building a new one and it's going to be better or something, I don't know, I was just a bit like, why have you done that? I also don't really understand now why they showed the mythosaur earlier in the season. It was literally like episode 2, when you could have just not shown it as then and shown it was on this last episode, and it would have been like a mad hype moment that Grogu has put his arm out and the mythosaur's woken up, like what? But instead it was just like, yeah, we already know that the mythosaur's down there because we've seen it before. I just feel like they should have put Moff Gideon, introduced him, or at least hinted at him before. I think if I was going to change one thing about this series to possibly fix it a little bit, I would have swapped the pirate attack in episode 5 and had it be like Moff's troopers attacking, and that it's because they're trying to search for Din or the Mandalorians. Because it feels a bit weird when you get someone back like a character as big as Moff Gideon and all of a sudden within an episode, well, in 2 episodes, he's literally dead and gone again. It just makes it a bit lackluster, and there's no build up or tension, or if he'd have killed someone meaningful sort of episodes before that, they would have made him so much more scarier and a force to be reckoned with. I did love Moff Gideon in his suit. I just hope he doesn't survive again, because I see how he could easily survive that. He's got the suit, he's in an explosion, he could just fall and like pick himself up, whatever. But I don't want him to survive again, because then it'd be like, oh, I'm back again after like it just keeps coming back. Overall, Mandalorian Season 3, looking back at it, has been quite good. I've complained about it week on week, but when you look back at it as a whole, it has been good. It's given us this deeper look into sort of Mandalorian lore, and it really focusing on that aspect of it, rather than it being Grogu and the Jedi. It's literally just been Mandalorians, which I do like. I just think there should have been some tweaks to the story in a way. It's almost like we were on a certain timeline of the story, with episode 1 and 2 being all around Mandalore, and then it feels like it got a bit lost and we didn't know where we were going for like at least 4 or 5 episodes, and it was only in the second to last episode that we actually sort of got a bit more direction of where the story's going, where we're taking this. I think episode 6 was the most unnecessary thing ever, and you could say the same about episode 3, but I actually really liked episode 3. Granted, that whole thing is not really anything to do with The Mandalorian, but it is purely, well, it's purely there to set up the sequels. This might be a really hot Star Wars take, but I'm gonna say it. If Boba Fett wasn't a thing, I think season 3 of The Mandalorian would have been peak. Just would have been absolute peak Star Wars. Like, imagine if we had sort of an episode of Din, like, at the beginning on his own, and then we get the 2 episodes from the Boba Fett that were basically The Mandalorian in Mandalorian season 3. And we got Luke, and we got Ahsoka, and we got Grogu coming back. And then we get Din, you know, going to Mandalore and how the season started. Then you can remove stupid episodes like the Lizzo episode, because you've actually got decent episodes like the beginning. If I was going to change one thing, I also think Grogu shouldn't have come back. I think he should have stayed away for at least half the season, and to be honest, he wasn't even needed for half the season. He was sort of just a sideline character. It's almost as if they have him there just for Twitter media reasons, and I think he should have just stayed out, because we would have been able to see Din struggle and grow as a character on his own without Grogu being there. As I say though, overall, I did still appreciate the season. I did still like The Mandalorian season 3. I thought it had its cool moment. I just wish it felt like it had a bit more of direction, or give it more episodes so we can spend more time on filler episodes or side characters or side stories, and it not feel like we're wasting time. But anyway, that's been all from me. If you did enjoy, please like down below. Let me know in the comments, what did you think? What did you not like about it? What did you love about season 3? Are you excited for season 4? If there's going to be a season 4? Do you think there's going to be a season 4? I don't know. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time on the TV Show Club.